Okay, I'm gonna start with this today. This is an old story about Pokemon Go. Basically, they say that people who were using Pokemon Go for Black Lives Matter was part of Russian hacking and caused the election and all that. Everybody laughed about this, but it's actually not that funny. You realize that looking at all the things they're adding into Russian connections and colluding are actually, you know, things that people have been fighting for in this country forever. Uh, you know, equal opportunity. I mean, I'm sorry, but black people, you should be pissed off at the Democrats. Uh, Not only are they attacking your right to freedom of speech, right to the freedom of the press, in this bullshit scheme to add Google, Facebook, Twitter, and bring them up and try to force them to show it and then get pissed off. But if you actually watched it, they were pissed off because they didn't show them enough evidence of colluding, between RT and Donald Trump and, all of that to affect the elections. Again, I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again. People apparently can't make up their own minds. But when they throw in things like Black Lives Matter, that's people that are fighting to not be shot, killed, murdered, and have fake evidence planted into their houses by police officers. You know, an unarmed man that actually is handcuffed behind his back getting murdered. Okay? And cops are let off constantly, even when there's videotape. Um, recorded things, and they're letting people off. Uh, Honestly, there's a limit to what you should give, you know, police officers. I miss the old days of Barney Fife. But when you do that, I'm sorry, but I'd rather have, Donald Trump, who's pretty much straight up racist to some extent, and is open about it, versus somebody who's stabbing you behind your back, metaphorically speaking, at this present time, maybe literally in the future, which would be the Democrats and Hillary Clinton and people like that. Literally, taking you out back and hanging you, like they did in the old days, if you were African American and didn't follow the suit. People fought for those rights and those privileges, you know, that they should have, like the right to vote. If there was a time African Americans were not allowed to vote. They were forced to sit on the back of a bus. And that's lightly putting it, segregation and all that stuff. And that stuff's coming back. And the problem with this is, those were fought for years ago, and I can't actually blame the Republicans on this. This is more of a Democratic thing. They just say we're against all, segregation and all this. But honestly, that's what they're fighting for. If you look at what they're actually doing when they attack things like Black Lives Matter, the Indians just fighting to keep their land against the pipeline in Dakota, all these things are us breaking treaties and enslaving people. You should get out and protest this. You should get out and bitch at your government about this. Uh, you know, literally. Uh, I hate to say it, but in this case, black people should actually be going after these people in the government for going in this direction. I mean, unless the Russians actually hacked, the actual democratic process. And when I mean hacked, I mean actually went in and changed votes, which a lot of Democrats have done in the past. Hell, it's even come out that Hillary Clinton, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, here's something for you. Hillary Clinton actually, bought the DNC, and Bernie Sanders was never going to win no matter what the people wanted in the primaries. I hate to say it, but that's the way it is. It was, our election was partially bought by Hillary Clinton, and she's done a lot of illegal stuff. She has colluded with other countries against the President of the United States before he was the president and after he's the president. These are things that have happened. But instead of prosecuting them, we're still prosecuting other people that we're prosecuting them for a little bit of a tax evasion or something like that. But we don't have any evidence of anything else. And actually, when the Senate gets pissed off at people like Google and Facebook who say, well, we really don't have that kind of evidence, it's because they want to invade your privacy as an American. They want to literally destroy you. And when people say, well, if you don't have anything to fear, you don't have anything to worry about, that was an excuse Hitler used in World War II. For people to actually go in and just without a warrant or anything check their houses. On top of that, okay, so let's say you don't. Who's to say that the guys going into your house aren't crooked, evil, or breaking the law? You do have things to fear because you know what? They're men. They're not a government. The government is the ideals made up. Yeah, you shouldn't have anything to fear from your government, but the people running it, or the people that they put in charge of going in and making that decision, you do have shit to fear from them. A lot of fear, especially when the police can kill you and not be held accountable. And 90% of the time, even when there's video recording of it. So yeah, Black Lives Matter, you have something to fear about. And you know what? You gotta do something about it. I'm putting this out there. I mean, hopefully waking somebody up. But these are things that people have to do something about, or you're going to lose all your rights. Cops will come and break into your house for no reason, steal your shit, rape your wife, rape your children. These things will eventually happen, and you will have reasons to fear. And yes, you do have to fear the cops because you know what? It is the biggest gang in the world, at least in the United States. When they can get away with murder, yeah, that is it. They have the system locked down. It's been said for a while. Now, I'm not saying all cops are bad, but there's a lot of corruption there. And with corruption, there has to be checks and things put in place. And they're trying to destroy those checks and those things that would be put in place for the very reason that would give people more power. Right now we got our government will go in and do what's called, we're looking at terrorists in places that there never were terrorists before, start a war and bring in the terrorists. And they harm the terrorists. As a matter of fact, they've been doing that for the last 10 years, so you can't just blame Trump on that. And George W. Bush and Obama gave him that ability because George W. Bush signed it right in and said, American people, this is it. No, it's about money. It's about destroying the American people. And if you don't do something about it, if enough American people, I hope, watch this and don't do something about it, if they don't, then yeah, you've lost all your rights and shit. That's all I'm going to say about the matter, except for if you are black and support Hillary Clinton, then you're supporting someone who may be nice to your face and say, I'm not a racist, but yet she, covers up a man who rapes people and, rapes children and women in California, and at the same time, who's supposed to be for women's rights. Obviously, that you can see right there, that's a bullshit if she's covering it up. And at the same time, you know, is, you know, saying, I'm for black rights and this and that. And at the same time, if you look at it, it's her DNC because she bought it, and her people and her that literally go out there and say, well, Black Lives Matter, which is supporting black people when they're being shot and murdered and have evidence planted and all that stuff by the police. You know, that's more racist than anything Trump has ever said. So you really shouldn't be supporting her unless you don't care about somebody, as long as they're nice to you to your face. You know, going behind your back and giving people permission to do that kind of thing. All right, this is me. I'm signing off.